New graduate Takuma works alongside his childhood friend Chinatsu, and is guided by his tiny senior Shiori who has been responsible for mentoring him. One day, Chinatsu is attending a cosplay event after work when she runs into the team manager Chihiro. Even worse for her, Chinatsu is actually in cosplay when she runs into him. Chinatsu quickly panics and pretends to be someone else, but Chihiro easily recognizes her. She also becomes worried because she considers Chihiro kind of a normie. Chihiro starts to ask questions about her cosplay, revealing that she spent many hours making it herself. But instead of thinking her hobby is creepy, Chihiro compliments her abilities and tells her that he thinks her outfit looks very good. Chihiro doesn't have many hobbies himself, so he admires people who enjoy themselves with hobbies. Chinatsu becomes embarrassed when he compliments her outfit, but she also begs him to keep her cosplay habit a secret between themselves, since she doesn't want their coworkers to know about her possibly embarrassing habit. Chihiro agrees after embarrassing Chinatsu once more with more compliments. Later that night, Chinatsu is attempting to work on manga but she can't concentrate because of the cosplay event. She worries about work the next day, and the next day, Chinatsu doesn't manage to finish her work on time due to her worry. Takuma and Shiori are worried for her, and Shiori encourages Chinatsu to get more sleep and to think about counting cats. Meanwhile, their manager Chihiro expresses his concern but Chinatsu is still embarrassed around him. Chihiro suddenly asks if they can talk in private after work, which continues to shock her, and she accepts even though she gets some teasing from Shiori. After work, Chinatsu prepares to leave for a restaurant to meet Chihiro, but meets him after tripping on some stairs. She becomes surprised to hear that he remembered their first meeting when he interviewed her for the company. At the dinner, Chihiro asks if there is anything he could do to help her adapt to working life. Chinatsu starts to think that this might be a work dinner, but when Chihiro suddenly becomes serious, she wonders if he is going to confess to her. It turns out, however, that Chihiro was so inspired by her cosplay at the event that he wants to go to more events. He also asks for her help with taking photographs of cosplayers. An embarrassed Chinatsu decides to agree, as long as he helps her make her cosplays. The next day, Chinatsu asks Takuma to lunch. Meanwhile, Shiori starts to tease Chihiro, who notices that the two of them are close. But her teasing actually activates Chihiro's romantic delusions, as he starts to think of love triangles between all his coworkers. And he doesn't understand when Shiori tries to correct him, and continues to keep thinking about his coworkers in various couplings. At lunch, Chinatsu is trying to get advice from Takuma since she accidentally revealed her otaku habits to Chihiro. Takuma still doesn't know about her cosplay habit, and Chinatsu wonders if she should embrace her hobby in front of her coworkers. Suddenly, Chihiro and Shiori show up asking if they could join for lunch. But Chinatsu becomes embarrassed when she realizes Chihiro overheard her conversation with Takuma. The next day, Shiori is preparing the office for Halloween by putting up decorations. Takuma becomes shocked when he sees his mentor in a costume, and then gets forced into role-playing Halloween with her. Meanwhile, Chihiro wishes Chinatsu a happy Halloween by giving her cat ears to wear. Meanwhile, Takuma and Shiori are trying out different candies for Halloween, until Shiori remembers that they shouldn't eat too much or they'll become fat. They get into an uncomfortable situation for Takuma when Shiori asks him to help her try some candy. But when he takes too long, she takes the candy and eats it herself. Unfortunately for Shiori, she accidentally eats some candy laced with alcohol and somehow becomes drunk. Chihiro and Chinatsu appear and Shiori immediately becomes affectionate with Chinatsu. Shiori also mistakes Chihiro for a tree before she goes on a minor rant thanking him for their good work environment. When a drunk Shiori sees Takuma, she immediately starts crying in happiness because of how well he has adapted to the work environment and how capable he has become. Takuma quickly becomes embarrassed by her attention, and his coworker takes pictures. Meanwhile, Chihiro tries to ask Shiori what she thinks of Takuma, but even while drunk, she doesn't give a clear answer. Months later, Shiori is happy that it is December and that means it will be the Christmas season too. She asks Takuma if he has any Christmas plans, and teases him when he doesn't have any plans, saying that she could maybe come to work dressed as Santa. Later, Takuma and Shiori have a quiet meeting together. After the meeting, they pass by stores where Shiori spots cute loungewear on display. Takuma imagines Shiori in the loungewear, and Shiori also points out loungewear that looks close to the stuffed animals they had won together, but she quickly becomes embarrassed thinking of the two of them in the pajamas. Suddenly, a woman calling herself the Nayatuber arrives to interview them, claiming that she is interviewing couples downtown. But Nayatuber becomes devastated to hear that Takuma and Shiori are just co-workers and are not dating themselves. The reporter begs them to become a couple just for the interview, since they haven't been able to find any couples on the internet. Surprisingly, Shiori agrees to help the interviewers and pretend that the two of them are a couple. When the interview starts, she gives a surprisingly detailed answer about Takuma, since she knows a lot about him. But when the reporter starts to ask about their love lives, Shiori quickly becomes too embarrassed to answer. She makes up a story about the two of them kissing in the office break room, and although her answer shocks Takuma, he decides to do his best to act as well. Unfortunately, Takuma takes acting way too far and almost transforms into a different person as he starts hugging Shiori. He even makes up further stories for their fake dating life, including staying over at each other's apartments. But when she feels him shaking, Shiori quickly realizes that Takuma is putting on a confident exterior, but he is also extremely nervous. Suddenly, the reporter asks if they can end with a kiss, so Shiori pulls in Takuma and pretends to kiss him on camera, ending the interview. Later that night, Chinatsu becomes shocked when she sees the interview of Takuma and Shiori online, and the next morning, everyone at the office had seen it too. As the holiday season gets closer, the whole company celebrates with a night out. After celebrating, Takuma and Shiori walk together after the party where they talk about Chihiro's Santa costume. Secretly, Takuma thinks of Shiori in her own costume, and the two of them decide to explore the city's holiday decorations before heading home. At the town Christmas tree, the two of them admit they really appreciate spending the holiday with each other, even though they become embarrassed about the romantic implications. The couple also exchange Christmas stories with each other, such as the different presents they got during Christmas as children. Meanwhile, when Shiori starts to become cold, Takuma attempts to use the opportunity to offer her gloves, but she already has some. She mistakes his intentions and tries to give him her gloves, but they also don't fit. Before they head home, Shiori reveals she ended up buying the pajamas they saw together, and she gives him the brown pajamas as a gift. Takuma had also bought her the pink pajamas, and they exchanged gifts underneath the town tree. Bravely, Shiori suggests they show off the pajamas to each other, but the moment becomes ruined when it turns out Chihiro and Chinatsu were spying on them. After some gentle teasing between the coworkers, they all decide to exchange contact information with each other, and as it starts to snow, Shiori suggests they all work on a snowman together. Later that night, Shiori tries on the new pajamas, feeling a little self-conscious, and she starts talking to the Takuma plushie for support. That night, Takuma has a dream of Shiori wearing a Santa outfit delivering presents. He also dreams that he is a reindeer helping her with Christmas duties. Takuma soon wakes up embarrassed because he is dreaming of his coworker. Meanwhile, Chinatsu and Chihiro are at a comic convention together to sell Chinatsu's manuscripts. Days earlier, an overworked Chinatsu had complained that she had no friends to help her at the comic event, when Chihiro overhears and decides to volunteer. She discovers that Chihiro actually has great design skills, and after work the two of them help review her manga scripts. But even though Chihiro is a great assistant, Chinatsu becomes embarrassed showing more of her hobbies to her manager. On the day of the comic convention, Chinatsu becomes even more embarrassed when her friends keep thinking Chihiro is her boyfriend, since Chihiro keeps calling Chinatsu his gal. Meanwhile, Shiori is still thinking about Christmas when she decides to call Takuma to congratulate him for doing so well at work for his first year on the job. They tease each other about their junior and senior relationship at work, and end up earnestly expressing their appreciation for each other. After the call, Takuma's older sister Yudaka suddenly confronts Takuma. She asks him if he has started dating, because there is no way he would buy cute pajamas on his own. She quickly deduces that he might be interested in someone at work, even though Takuma quickly denies this. To make matters worse, Takuma quickly has another dream about Shiori. This time, Shiori is a stray cat in a box that Takuma finds on the road. When Takuma interacts with cat Shiori, who has a sign saying "Please adopt me," he becomes increasingly embarrassed and suffers a heart attack from her cat-like behavior. At the same time, Shiori herself dreams about being a stray cat on the road. And although she is dreaming about her junior at work, Shiori can't help herself and pretends to be a stray cat so that he can pet her head. She has fun pretending to be a cat, but wakes up the next morning disturbed by the crazy dream. Later, Yudaka has become increasingly suspicious of Takuma's happy behavior. She is certain that he has started dating someone, so she decides to prove it by giving him a complicated psychological test. Using the test, Yudaka quickly determines from Takuma's reaction to a cute cat that her brother is interested in someone who acts cute and cat-like. Afterwards, when Takuma leaves to see a shrine with Shiori on New Year's, Yudaka decides to follow and spy on him. Unfortunately, because of the weird dreams they've had, Shiori and Takuma act awkwardly around each other. Meanwhile, Chinatsu and Chihiro arrive as well. The spying Yudaka is taken aback by how cute Shiori is, and she quickly comes out of hiding to hug Shiori, and Takuma introduces her as his obsessive sister. While Yudaka fawns over Shiori, Chihiro suddenly introduces himself as Takuma's boss, and sensing an opportunity, he suggests that Yudaka would gain a little sister if Shiori and Takuma got married. Struck by this, Yudaka quickly demands that her little brother get married, embarrassing him and Shiori as he orders her to go home. Chinatsu and Takuma scold them for their behavior, and Takuma apologizes to Shiori for his sister's pushy behavior. Unfortunately, Yudaka and Chihiro continue to tease them throughout the shrine visit. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.